Alright guys, so the next thing I'm working on in this recirculating shower is putting a base down for the shower so it will fall to the drain. Now I've done some research and trying to find out what's the best sort of stuff to use. I wanted to get some sort of rubberized screed base, can't find one, so what I'm using is some just normal screed, and I'm putting in some bondcrete, or a lot of bondcrete into it, to hopefully make it really tight and stuck together. I don't know whether this is going to work. I'm not a professional when it comes to this at all. So I have done a mortar base before for tiles, but never sort of for this. So I'll turn it around. Because it's a non-standard size and also the drain is in a weird spot, I've got to make up my own base. I can't just buy one or cut one down, whatever, because of where the drain is. I've got to sort of make it. So I also want to make sure that the fall is towards that, because if you don't have your bus level, even if you have your bus level and doesn't have a fall on it, you're going to find that it's not going to go to the drain anyway. So I've got to make sure everything falls towards the drain. That's why I'm using a mortar base or a cement based bed, and I put bondcrete in it. As I said, don't know whether it's going to work, but I'm going to try it and see. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to measure up. I've got to measure up how far I've got to come up from the side of the wall and then slope it down towards the drain. It's going to be a bit tricky. If it was in the centre, it probably wouldn't be as bad, but where it is, I don't want it having a really big slope here and then not so much here. Anyway, I'm going to work that out now and see how I go. I've put the mark around the shower at, I put it at 15 mil. Supposedly for the standard you're supposed to have 10 mil every 1 metre. So this isn't even a metre, but I've gone 10 mil. So it should have enough fall, even if it goes a bit higher, I'm not worried, around to get the fall right. I'm going to make up, actually I might even use my ruler. I'm just going to make it up and put it in so I can make sure the depth, and put it into the mortar as I do it and make sure I've got the correct depth as I go up along, and we'll see how we go. I'll go and show you what I'm using. So it's traditional floor screed, just from Bunnings, and I'm using the bondcrete to mix it together. This will give it the strength and hopefully the flexibility that needs. It's a 2 litre, once again from Bunnings. So I'm going to mix it up now. It's got to be a dry mix, so I'm just using a bucket and going to mix it with a paint stirrer into there, and then I'll go in and put it in. I'm not exactly sure how much I'm going to need. I'm going to make a fair bit, that way if I don't use it I can throw the rest out. So anyway, let's see how we go. Alright guys, that's the finished product. You can see the drain. When it dries off I'll show you the fall that's on there. Not a fun thing to do, I didn't enjoy it at all. I hope I've got the fall right, but till we try it out we're not going to know. Anyway, I'll show you that when it dries. I've got to give it at least 24 hours to dry, maybe 48, so we'll see how we go. Alright guys, I don't know whether you can see it, I'll try and do it as best I can, but as you can see now the shower base is now down and it's hard. It feels a little bit different to what it normally does, and that I'm assuming that's because I put the Bondcrete in it, so hopefully this will fix the issue I'm having. It seems to be falling to the right space, but once I get the actual floor on here we'll know more, but hopefully it'll work. So good morning guys, today I'm working on getting the base for the shower done. Now I'm using just some aluminium sheet. Once it's all cut and right I'm going to undercoat it with edge primer a couple of times, and then I'm going to paint it with non-slip paint. Hopefully that will do the job. I'm using the thinner stuff so it can mould more to the contours of the floor that I made. But now I'm not cutting it, I'm bending it to fit to where it's got to go. Because on the edges I'm going to bend up the edges on either side, and that way when it's fixed to the wall then the aluminium sheeting or the wall paneling is going to come over the top. So keeping it as much watertight as I can. The problem is when I've done my measurements, the measurements are both the same, which is good, but unfortunately it's not square. Like when I measured from side to side either way, it was out by about 10 mil. I used a piece of string to measure it, but it didn't work. I couldn't get it square. So what I've done is I've got some flat bar. And what I've done is I've taken it into the motorhome and I've put it against the walls and marked exactly where each part is. And I know the back wall measurement, so I'm doing that. So what I'm doing is I'll put it out and show you when I've done it. Okay guys, trying to get this shower base cut to the proper side has been a nightmare. I started out with measurements, that didn't work. I then got some flat bar and measured it that way and put it down the ground, that didn't work. So what I ended up having to do is put down sheets of paper and just tape them together, which has got me the shape I need and the angles I need. I've cut out the drain, so now I can take this out to the sheet of metal and put it on there. I should have started doing this the first time I did it. I spent so much time trying to get it right with measurements and stuff, and I should have just done this to start off with. Anyway, live and learn. Alright guys, I've had to bend the metal, so that's what I'm doing here. What I've done is I've traced where I've got to bend it from, and then I've clamped it down with some flat bar and a bit of wood here so I could get to it, and then I've just pushed it up, and then what I've done is I've hammered along the edge to get it as square as I can. Now it's not very thick, so it's pretty easy to bend. If you're to get thicker metal, you'd probably need to have something to bend it with, but this will work okay because it's only light. Now I've got to do the other two, cut out the drain point, and then we can go and see if it fits in. Okay, here's the shower base that's now folded into shape. I'm going to take it out to the bus and check whether it fits okay. If it's fitting okay, I've got to just get the measurements to bend this over because it's going over the hob, and then I can cut the drain out, and once that's done we'll be able to fit. Oh no, we won't be able to fit it because I've got to paint it. Alright guys, it's in as a test fit. So these parts here that you see up against the wall and along here are all going to be covered by the wall paneling, so you're not going to see that. You're only going to see this, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do here, but you may see this part here, but it's going to be painted with anti-slip paint. It's sitting up a little bit just here, but once I glue it down and weigh it down, that will be fine, and then I'll silicone around there as well. But so we've got the rubber waterproofing, we've got this which I'll silicone up the edges so no water can get through, and then the paneling up and siliconed on each edge, so it should be pretty well waterproof. I think I might do the same over on this side of the toilet. I'll check with Carolyn, but I think I'm going to do the same with that. So now I'm going to go and undercoat it with the metal etching paint so the rest of the paint can adhere to it. G'day guys, today I'm going to install the shower base, make sure it's glued down. Alright, so the base is ready to go, and I've undercoated the shower pan. Basically it's grey etch paint so it'll adhere to the aluminium. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use liquid nails all the way around the corners and all across the middle here, and then I've got some weights to weigh it down with. So I've got some big pavers, I've got some bricks, I've got a tub of water as well. I'm going to put the bricks around the drain so it'll make sure it presses down so the fall will be right, and I'll put the water on top of that to keep it down. I've got some towels to put over it so it doesn't scratch any of the painting that I've done, and I've cut some lengths of wood to fit in between each spot so it can push out the edges to make sure it glues on okay. And I've done it this way, and I've also done it this way as well. So okay guys, not great lighting, but I've glued it all down and put some weight on it to weigh it down, and the sides as well to keep it nice and tight. I'm going to put another brick along here, and then I'm going to clean up the overspill and then leave it for a day or two and see how we go. Alright guys, I've taken everything off and it's stuck down well. Edges are fine. but you got to remember you're not going to see these edges because they'll be covered. I've just tapped down to the grate itself so it has a little bit more of a floor there. Now I did put some water in here to see how it would drain. Here it didn't drain, it just sat there. Along here it was fine. Now the bus is on a tilt down towards that side, so I expected it to congregate there because it's a fairly decent tilt at the moment. So once the bus is leveled out, I don't think we're going to have any trouble with drainage. I think it'll flow straight to the drain, which is great. But till I test it when we've leveled the bus out completely, I'm not going to be 100% sure, but I'm pretty confident, so that's good. So what I'm going to do now is, what am I going to do now? Oh, what I'm going to do is silicone up around the edge of the drain. Do a bit of silicone each corner around here, and once that's dried, then I'm going to put up the walls. So the actual installing of the shower pan is pretty much done. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. We do appreciate you taking the time out to watch them. Hopefully I'll get a video out this coming week, but it all depends. We're going to be pretty busy this week, so we'll see how we go anyway. Once again guys, if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like our channel. Otherwise guys, we will catch you, well, next video, whenever that will be, I'm not sure, but I'll try and get one out for you this week. So anyway guys, take care, and we'll see you next video. Bye now.